Hey guys, back with another video, review impressions on Suikoden 2, or Suikoden 2. I still don't know the actual pronunciation. I think it's Suikoden, I'm pretty sure. But this game is a game I've been wanting to play for a while. Before I get into the review, I will say I don't own this game. I didn't go out and buy this game. It's really expensive. I would never be able to put down the amount of cash needed for this game. Like, I was looking on eBay, like the cheapest I could possibly get this game, like a complete copy, because I would want a complete one, is like around 170 bucks, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, this game is it's just gonna get more and more expensive. And it's not on the PlayStation Network, so I did emulate this one. There are rumors of it coming to the PlayStation Network, but I really felt in the mood for a Suikoden game. I'm probably gonna keep saying this name like different ways throughout the entire video, but I really felt in the mood for another game in this series, so I decided to jump into this one. Obviously, one of the reasons why it is so expensive is because it's known to be the best game in the series, generally. I know a lot of people love the fifth one as well, but most people I think would probably say the second one's the best. I played the first one about a year ago now. I have a review of it on the channel. And on that video I got a lot of comments saying, you know, definitely play the second one. It's much better, and it is. It's a much better game than the first one. Definitely among my favorite PS1 games. That said, there are still some problems I have with it, but we'll get to that later. I guess I should start with the story of this game, which this is the biggest improvement to me. Suikoden 1, the story was decent, I thought, but it didn't blow me away or anything. But the storyline in this game is fantastic. Honestly, one of my favorite storylines of any PS1 RPG I've played. I think I still might prefer Xenogears and Chrono Cross maybe a bit, because the storyline in this, I will say, I think the second half is far less interesting than the first half. Basically, I'm going to give a brief overview of the story. There's no connection with the first game or second game, so I'm not going to be spoiling any part of the first game. But basically, you play like a nameless character. You name your character. I named him Scott. And you start in the Highland Army as a part of a youth brigade with your friend Jowie, who I thought was a girl at first. For a few moments, I thought it was a girl. A lot of characters in this game, from their character portraits, I thought they were girls and then they were guys, or I thought they were guys and then they were girls. Really weird. But he's your best friend. He's been your best friend for a long time. And then you've got your kind of big sister Nanami, or Nanami, I think her name is, and those are the three central characters of the story. And you start out in this Highland Army. Eventually, you kind of get thrown to another side, the Joustin State Army, and you kind of eventually you lead your own army, and you kind of gather the 108 Stars of Destiny, as in all of these games, and kind of build up your army to defeat the Highland Army and its lead guy, Luca Blight, who is the main villain of the game. I don't want to say more than that. This story is really heavy on political intrigue, and it's very dark. I was not expecting how dark this storyline is. I loved it. It reminded me of Game of Thrones a lot. Tons of twists and turns, some that I wasn't expecting, and it really caught me off guard with how mature and dark this game was. I was always interested to see where the storyline was going to go. And I'm not really normally into political storylines, like war-driven storylines, but this is a really good one. You know, like I said before, I think the first half is more interesting than the second half. And the pacing is not always great. A lot of times you'll get sidetracked in this game and do these really goofy side quests. Like one instance where you're kind of like, you go to a school for a while, like that. Like, there's some parts that feel out of place, especially some of the recruitment missions for the 108 Stars of Destiny, because there's a good sense of like urgency to this game, with all like the war going on, and then the battles. So I don't know, the pacing I thought was kind of weird at spots, and but Luca Blight, the villain, I got to talk about Luca Blight. This guy is absolutely fucking sadistic. It's been a while since I've seen a villain this hateable. There's a tiny bit of sympathy you can feel for him. based on something to do with his mother, but it's really hard to feel any sympathy for this guy. I mean, he's absolutely nuts. I don't want to spoil what he does in this game, but it's pretty brutal. Like, he's a brutal villain, and you want to see him dead so badly. One of my favorite villains in recent memory, I gotta say, like, Luca Blight is fantastic. Though I really like these really sadistic villains. But yeah, he's fantastic. But yeah, I don't want to spoil too much more of the story other than to say, like, it's fantastic. Basically from start to finish. And even though I don't think the second half is as interesting as the first half, it still offers plenty of surprises. There is one annoying thing towards the end, where like a certain thing changes depending on if you've got the 108 Stars of Destiny, and I didn't get all of them. That's just something I just don't have the time for these days. If I was younger, I probably would have got them all, but so something pretty significant changes if you get them all, and you get like a best ending if you do that, which I looked up on YouTube, and that is definitely a cool ending. But the ending I got, the second ending, there's like a really bad ending, a middle ending, and then the best ending. I got the middle ending. I felt good with that one. I thought it was good, but obviously not as good as the best ending. But if you're planning not to get all the 108 Stars of Destiny, definitely just go up on YouTube and look up that. But yeah, the story in this game overall is definitely the reason you're going to want to play this game. It's the best part of the game by far, and I really enjoyed it. Gameplay-wise, it's very similar to the first one. The battle system, the main battle system at least, is generally the same. You've got 6 party members, and each can like equip their different runes to get new powers. You don't really have magic in this game. You have like runes, and that determines the magic each character has, and it has different uses, and to recover that you got to sleep at an inn. Each character is very different from one another. I enjoyed getting all the characters, but like I said, the battle system is very similar. You've got your fight, you've got your fight commands, you can run away. You have the unite attacks from the first game where certain characters can team up and do like a team attack. It's standard turn-based stuff, but it's fast-paced. The battle system is really fast, especially with the auto battle, which I used quite a bit in this game. I thought helped a lot. The battles are just very quick and very fun. I mean, they're nothing too crazy. You can't get too tactical, but I think they're fun and they remain fun throughout. I found the game was a bit more challenging than the first game. I think that was one of my complaints with the first game, was that it was too easy. This, they definitely upped the challenge level a bit. I still didn't die all that much, but the enemies I thought hit a lot harder, and you really have to use your healing abilities. Your main character has a rune that gives some really overpowered healing abilities that you're going to need. I found a lot of the enemies and bosses did a lot of attacks that would attack all your party members at the same time. The only boss that actually killed me was the final boss, because there's not many gimmick bosses in this game. Most of the bosses, you just keep attacking them till they're dead, but the final boss had a gimmick that I had to kind of figure out, and he killed me a few times. But the combat's fun. There's still random encounters, which is kind of annoying, but the encounter rate's not too bad. You've still got your world map that's fun to explore. The encounter rate's not too bad on the world map, but some of the dungeons, it can get annoying. The dungeon designs are kind of bland. I mean, they're mostly going through corridors with some dead ends where you'll find some treasure chests. Towards the end, the dungeons got kind of annoying. The final dungeon in particular I thought was really annoying, because you have like scripted fights and then like random encounters every few steps. And it just went on forever, and I was kind of worried because, like, one of my main complaints with this game is the lack of save points. Like, you've got these statue save points, and then you can save at the end, but other than that, like there just isn't any save points in this game. You'll often go through these long dungeons with no save point in sight. There's many sections of this game where I was going like an hour without a save point, so I was just like this is a bit much. Like, it's a thing of the past. It's kind of like a lot of PS1 games had this issue, but I gotta say, I think the game could have used more save points. The final dungeon in particular is really long. When I did finally get to that save point, and the fact that it actually let me rest and, to heal up my rune abilities, I was so grateful for that. If they didn't do that, I would have been pretty pissed off. But yeah, that was a pretty big complaint. Other than that, I mean, there's not much improvements in terms of gameplay. I mean, you've got your base building, like with the first game. You kind of build your castle, and it grows depending on your recruitments. You can get your own armorer and, rune smith. You know, the weapon upgrade system's still the same. Each character has their own weapon you upgrade, spending your money. I mean, it's very simple stuff, and it didn't change too much from the first game. But I enjoyed the gameplay in the first game. One of the big gameplay changes, though, in this one that I was so grateful for was the inventory system and just the menus in general. One of the problems I had with the first game was that I constantly had to go through the inventory system with the people's equipment and like change them between characters. You didn't have enough slots. There was just a lot of busy work in the menus. This game, it's all sped up. Each character has like their armor and weapons, and then their own areas where you can give them like medicines and things like that. And you can easily swap between characters. When you're buying stuff, you can equip stuff and sell stuff at the same time. Like, I'm not going to describe the stuff in detail, but it's a hell of a lot better than the first game, I'll tell you that. I really appreciated that. But I mean, there's not really much else I can say in terms of gameplay. I mean, it's not the most complicated game in the world. I guess the one other thing, the one other change is you've got your one-on-one duels from Suikoden 1. Those are still the same. They're very rock, paper, scissors between your wild attack, and your defend. Those are still fun. The one thing they did change that I actually didn't like as much are the full-scale battles. In the first game, they were very rock, paper, scissors. I forget the options you had, but it was basically rock, paper, scissors battles. But the large-scale battles in this game are like Fire Emblem, kind of. They're nowhere near as complex as that, but they look like Fire Emblem graphically, where you kind of move your units and they each have like different members in them. And they have like attack and defense points, and you kind of like attack other units, and some of them can use magic and things like that. It was very weird, but it's still kind of got a rock, paper, scissors element to it, and you can like see these little sprites at the bottom attacking on each side, which is it's very funny. But I gotta say, I didn't enjoy the full-scale battles all that much. I don't know, there's something about them that just felt they feel kind of like, I don't want to say tacked on, but they didn't, I don't know, to me they didn't gel with the rest of the game as much. I actually kind of preferred the simplicity of the ones in the first game. I mean, not like these are super complex battles, but I found them to be kind of tedious, maybe. They went on a bit too long for my taste as well. And often it was kind of annoying to have to do them, and then immediately after you have like some boss fights with the normal battle system. Which is where, like I said before, like how there's hour-long stretches. Well, like one stretch of this game, there was like a full-scale battle, then afterwards you had like a dungeon, and then after that you had like a boss battle, and then there was like another boss battle shortly afterwards, like with no save points. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I think these full-scale battles, you're either probably going to really enjoy these and find them like a nice change of pace, or you're going to find them kind of annoying like I did. I mean, I didn't absolutely hate them. But every time one of them came up, I wasn't exactly thrilled to be doing it. I'm very curious to see what the next entry in this series, the third game on PS2, does with these kind of full-scale battles. But yeah, not too big on those. But otherwise, I mean, the gameplay is improved where it needed to be for the most part. But at the same time, it's not going to blow you away or anything, and there's nothing too in-depth here. Visually, let's go into the visuals. I love the look of this game. I mean, it's all 2D sprites, which, I mean, at the time this game came out, people were probably pissed off after, like, Final Fantasy VII. But to me, this game holds up much better visually than that game, because it is all gorgeous 2D sprites. I loved the towns and just... I mean, there's not much to explain, really, in terms of the graphics. It's just a very visually appealing game. The character portraits, I think, are a lot better than they were in the first game. I think that was one of my complaints with the first game. I thought the character portraits were kind of ugly. In this game, they look great. The characters are all look fantastic. Really nothing really to complain about with the visuals. It's a good-looking game. You know, it's held up well over the years, I gotta say. Music-wise, I like, there were some great tracks here and there, but I think I might have preferred the first game's soundtrack. I mean, nothing in this game, no tracks really jumped out to me as amazing. There's one song that reminded me of a song in Super Mario RPG, which was weird. I don't know the name of the song, but it was very similar to a song in that game, which I felt was kind of weird. The song that plays on the world map is awesome. And I'm pretty sure that was in Suikoden 1. I'm not too sure on that. The battle theme I really liked as well, the main battle theme. I mean, the music in this game is definitely good. Nothing really caught me by surprise or anything, though. I'm not going to rush out and, like, you know, get a soundtrack for this game or anything like that, but it's still a good soundtrack overall. But yeah, I think I've gotten over everything. I mean, this game, I will say, like, there's a lot of content to it. I mean, I didn't rush. I kind of felt like I rushed through the game, maybe. I didn't get too many of the characters, I must say. I got maybe half of them. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot of content there. The first game took me around like 22 hours, I want to say, to beat. This game took me around 26. So, it wasn't that much longer than the first one, but I checked howlongtobeat.com, and the average time was like 35 hours, which kind of surprised me. I mean, looking at that, I guess I really did rush through the game, but I didn't feel like I rushed through it that much. But I guess most people that play this game maybe go for all the characters, and I kind of just wanted to see where the story was going to go next. I didn't really care about that stuff too much. But yeah, it's not one of the longer RPGs I've played, definitely, but I had a great time with this game. Whether it's worth the price, that 160, I mean, I'm in Canada, so it's a bit more expensive for me, but it's probably around like 140 to 170 bucks. Is it worth that price? If you have the money and you're willing to pay it, I'd say yes. You know, it's not like Panzer Dragoon Saga. That game to me is not worth the money. I'm on the minority with that game, but I don't know. I kind of thought that game was overrated. I mean, it was fine, but I mean, for like the $250 price tag that game goes for, actually, it's probably even more than that now. Like, I don't really get the fascination with that game all that much, but this game I think is more worth the price than that. If you don't have the money, though, I'd say wait till it's on PSN, although some people have said that it will never go on PSN, even with that rumor that came out lately. But yeah, definitely a game that's worth playing. It's definitely a must-play RPG, and I had a great time with it. So yeah, that's it, guys. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.